Okay, we're live, fellas. The inaugural show, whatever we're going to call it. I feel like I should introduce myself. If you don't know yet, I'm going to be your boy, High Five Vega, if you came here from Dean. But joining me today is the man who never sleeps, a.k.a. the wiring wizard, a.k.a. the man who single-handedly props up the zip tie industry. It's Dean from 5 Star Car Stereo. What's up, Dean?
Oh, hey, what's going on? Oh, in the zip tie thing, we finally got zip ties back in. Yesterday, we got our shipment of zip ties. We've been out of 8-inch zip ties for a month.
Did you almost have a nervous breakdown?
So I ordered 6-inch zip ties, and then a desperation move, I ordered 14-inch zip ties. And Fernando's just like, he's like, what are we gonna do with these? I'm like, it's all we could get. So we got 4-inch zip ties that are like this big, and these 14-inchers, and it's like, okay,
like ones you arrest people with.
Yeah. So I've, hey, you never know. Yeah,
but, I mean, if someone acts up in the shop, you got to sometimes you got to handle that yourself too.
Yeah, and then the 14-inchers showed up, and the next day, of course, the 8-inch showed up, and it was like, oh, thank God. Whew.
Man.
But yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous, all the rotating blackouts on parts. I mean, you'll be out of a distribution block of all the things. It's like, I need this distribution block. We don't have any. They're coming, Amp, who we buy from Amp Global, which is Stinger and Echo Master, Pack, and all those guys. They have a couple warehouses throughout the U.S., but the main one is in California, and of course, California being screwed the way it is, it's just a nightmare. So you never know where your stuff is coming from. We actually ended up accidentally having 12,000 on back order.
Oh no!
And I was asking my guy, I said, "Hey man, just out of curiosity, how many 8-inch zip ties do I have on back order?" He's like, "Hold on, let me check." It was 12,000. I go, I really only need 2. Yeah. Can we start with 2 and we'll go from there? Yeah. It's like,
the 12,000 will get us through the month anyways.
We use more 4-inch. Like the 4-inch are cool because they come in like bags of 1,000. So it's like, But actually the 8-inch come in bags of 1,000 too. But it's something about that size that it's like feels right. It's almost the size of a money bag. Remember the bank money bags? It's like that size. So it's just like, sounds like money. Yeah. And
technically it is money. Well, unless you're doing like me and then it's money on the other end where I'm just spending money on zip ties and
we're slobs too. So it's like, you drop a zip tie on the ground, didn't even miss it. Skeezer from another crew, he picked it up and kissed it. Oh no, wrong.
Man, that goes against. Have you never done 5S? You pick up at the end of the day, you sweep and then you pick up the zip ties and put them back in.
Dude, let me tell you what. So in the bay, there's always tubs of different connectors. You have your red butt connectors, blue, yellow, ring terminals, spade terminals, and they're all in their little bins. And then you have all the you have your big, like, where they're at, and then you have your little tray that you put a couple in, so that you have them on your workbench. The worst day ever is when you knock that tray on the ground.
Oh man!
Because you just look at it and you're like,
yeah.
And the thought that immediately goes through your head is, I got to sort those out. And then you go, well, I didn't pay for those, so maybe I'll just dust clean them up and throw them in the trash can and start over.
If I was a new guy, I'd be like, I quit.
Oh, dude, it's horrible. You're like, oh, God,
do you guys like Rochambeau? Or whoever drops it, guys, to get them?
You dropped it, you got to pick it up. It's all on you. So,
that's fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, it sucks. Hey, I hit the comment button. I'm like, wow, there's no one here.
Oh yeah, you were in the private chat, huh?
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Well, let me shout out some of our super chat guys.
Yeah, do it.
El Fuego, the dynamic duo, pun intended, is getting ready to provide max power to the 12-volt world. There we go.
Dude, El Fuego, for one, that is like the coolest name ever.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Robert Van Hoyt was like a really cool name. I love it because I go, Robert Van Hoyt. But El Fuego is like, I love that name. There's just certain names that pop up that you're just like, that's a cool name.
And there's a good story that goes with that name.
Is there?
I can't remember the whole story, but
so you guys get time to talk about stuff like that. We don't, man.
You got to answer questions.
It's like, here we go.
Long story short, I think he almost burned down his wife's vehicle doing an install. So he can never do an install on his wife's vehicle, and his name is El Fuego.
Works for me.
Byron Chambliss, he actually has good cell service. Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
I know, right? I was trying to stream something this morning. There's a podcast I listened to by Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. They talk about geek movie stuff. And so I was leaving the house, I was driving to work, and I was like, oh, I'll listen to that on my way, because normally I have a phone call from 9 to 9:30 every morning, and they're on vacation. And so I was like, I gotta find something to do. So I was like, well, it's and if cell service the whole way, I'm like, God, all these kids back at school, this sucks.
Yeah. you got to download those, man. That's how you do it. Or you do Spotify.
I'm just not, I'm a spur of the moment guy. It's like, I think it's something I do it. If I have to plan, then it's like, forget it. Cause I don't have time. If it can't be done here quickly, then forget it, cause I'll have guys that'll come in, hey, did you read this? And I'll be like when I was setting this rig up before I went on my run, I got a phone call from a buddy of mine, and he's like, hey man, we're at the halfway point or something for the voting, and you're number one for trusted tech. You mean in the runnings? You're number one for trusted tech and number 3 for installer. And immediately in my head, I go, number 3? And I was like, and then I heard the guy was at number 1, and he's like Canadian, and I was like, oh yeah, I know that guy. He's a cool dude. And they're like, I was like, whatever. We still got another week or 2 to go. Come on, guys, get out there and vote. ME Industry Voting, whatever.com.
Yeah, the things.
Yeah, vote. I don't have a link, or I'd be cool like that. But so I don't even know where I was going with that. I already sidetracked. All right, you had a great topic for the show, and I was super excited about this. Part of the reason that I reached out to you to do this was the two polar opposites that we are in this industry. So you're you, and I'm me. That was bad. And
I'm an amateur. Dean's a professional.
Yeah, we'll do that. I mean, I get paid to do what I do. That's the only reason why I'm considered professional. Other than that, I don't know if I'd qualify. But, and in case anyone are asking about the headphones, because these are Grottos. So we'll just show people those so we get them out of the way.
Those the 80s?
What's that?
Are those the SR80s?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, and they were a gift. I actually had a guy that drove in from Atlanta, and he was a big headphone guy. He knows I'm a headphone guy, and he bought these just to try them out, because if you look at these things, these look like the headphones you would have had back in like high school or middle school, like in Spanish class.
Yeah.
You take these things off, you have to wipe them with alcohol and all this other crap. And he goes, okay, the only guy I've ever met that had a Leica in his bag.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, with 2 lenses. So he's
Leica
walking around.
lenses?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So for those of you who don't know what a Leica is, it's a really expensive rangefinder camera he was carrying a really expensive sports car around in his bag. And I'm like, and he goes, so he drove down to Atlanta to had us to do a system. It was a 911 naturally. And he goes, hey, I got these headphones. I know you're into headphones. Is it all right if I send them to you? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And they showed up one day, and they come in this little crappy box, and these popped out. And I'm like, the hell are these? I mean, because they look so, and then I put them on, and I was like, listening to music. And I was like, oh, wow, these are really nice.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah, but they're great for this because they're really open.
Yeah.
So I have like 8 pairs of headphones over there, and I put some on. I put these Daconis on, and they went all over my ear, and I'm like, I was like, I can't. Okay, I was freaking out. So
it's good to hear your voice as you're speaking.
No, it's not. I hear my voice way too much as it is.
And then the moment that, one of the ladies pops in, like, are you done yet? Or
did I come out of the door? Then no, I'm not. Okay. So there again, rabbit hole, or rat hole as it were. Part of the reason for doing this is that dichotomy that we can have about car audio from our 2 points of view. And you came up with a great topic for the first show here. And what was it? And let's get started.
Okay, might start a flame war. We'll see. But it's the most annoying trends in car audio. I've got a whole list here. Let me see. I've got a whole list here.
Dude, you made a list?
Yeah, I've made a list of things that annoy me about the trends in car audio. You want me to just read them off?
Let's take it one at a time. Let's take it one at a time. And this is also the reason why I wanted to be a co-host, because you made the list. Yeah. I just get to talk.
I'm sure you'll be able to add to it because you probably have annoyances that I don't have.
We have way different annoyances.
Yeah,
I can tell you that right now. But
so the very first one is stunt walls. What are your thoughts on stunt walls?
Stunt walls?
Yeah.
Okay, what is a stunt wall?
You never like the Brazilian where they flip the trunk up?
They call that a stunt wall?
That's a stunt wall, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's annoying.
That's the other reason why I wanted to do this, because I was like, I know he's gonna know stuff I have no. We're in two first world problems. Don't even equate. This is car stereo problems 101. Like I would have never known what a stunt wall was. I just call that like a dump bed with speakers.
Yes. Yes. And you're at the show, and it's just like, yo, man, please turn that down.
So when we go to shows and those guys open up the vans and I walk behind them, I always think of like those the Bart Simpson, the cat and the mouse, where they always are like tearing the flesh off of theirs. And that's what I think as I'm walking by, the flesh is in my skull is just there, as it just the horns just like, you know, and I think it's great. I actually like it because I see these guys standing there like this, you know, or you see that one dude that's so high, he's just like this. Yeah, and you're just like, what? Oh, meth. Yeah, you know.
That's a total side jag into this. I didn't write down, but the car audio world is full of methamphetamines, from what I can tell from some of my friends' list.
Let's just call them tinners. Just call them tinners from now on, because that's what they tin. No, if you're a tinner, it's cool, but we're just gonna call them tinners. No, I like that stuff. I'm like a kid. I'm the first guy when we go to a show and they have that stuff there. I'm the first idiot to walk over there and be like, let's go look at that. And Haley be with me or Fernando be with me, and they'll be like, why, dude? Why? And I'll be like, because it's cool, you know. And I'll just be standing there, and Haley be over to the side, and she'll just be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this is awesome. Because you got to remember, when I started, how you used to judge a contest was you had two idiots parked in front of each other so many feet apart, and you had all the morons standing in the center. And it was like, all right, you play yours. All right, you play yours. All right, you play yours again.
Yeah.
All right, you suck. Get out of here. Boo. You know, it's like next idiot would roll up. And that's how we did it, you know?
Yeah.
So to me, I guess that's kind of that. Plus, I like the cool idea of like in Brazil, I would love to sit there and be on the mountain where the guys are crossing on the other mountain and they're like blasting each other from mountaintop to mountaintop, just going, all this for $20 worth of speakers.
That's insane, man. They do get some major projection in them big, huge vans. Yeah, that's another level.
Yeah. The nice thing is so that part of the industry we don't really get involved in, thankfully, because on the downside, when it comes to like tuning stuff like that, I can't do it. I have an inner ear thing that playing that like I get like motion sickness from it, so I have to be real careful when I'm around that stuff. All right, what do you got for the next one? That was good.
The next one is bullet tweeters pointed right at your face. What do you think about that?
All right, first off, what do I think of bullet tweeters?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes.
I absolutely cannot stand a bullet tweeter. However, I will give you this pointer. If you are going to do bullet tweeters, the biggest mistake people make about bullet tweeters is they always hook them up in parallel. Okay? You need to hook your bullet tweeters up in series. Even if you get an 8-ohm bullet tweeter, the efficiency on that tweeter is through the roof. A lot of those things like 103 dBs of efficiency. So if you hook them up in series where you come in positive, off negative to positive, then negative out, that'll bring it up to like a 16 ohm, and you will never blow a tweeter. They only need like 3 watts. You know, even though they
Yeah.
say they handle like 200 watts, you'll never put 200 watts to that tweeter ever, because of the way a power curve works on an amplifier, and also the way the signal response is coming from the music you're playing. You will never have a 200 watts going to a tweeter. Do you think a monofilament can handle 200 watts? I mean, come on. You look at a woofer that can handle 1,000 watts, and power is power, okay? A 50-watt light bulb is a 50-watt light bulb. It doesn't matter. If you grab a 50-watt light bulb, you're going to burn your hand. 50 watts is 50 watts. You can't expect the tweeter to do that. But the only tweeter we use as a horn is a Neo tweeter, because they're small enough, and sometimes we can put them up in the dash where a 3.5 goes. And for that guy that just wants to actually, be, system is so loud. And sorry about that. Just squinty eyes. That's it. But like aimed at your face, why?
No. I mean, I can get down with compression drivers, compression horns. Plenty of those sound very good, but bullet tweeters or anything that's meant to do what a bullet tweeter does.
Yeah.
No bueno.
It's my ears are shot as it is at this point.
Yeah.
I will say this for the compression drivers. Years ago, when Image Dynamic was coming of age, we were a huge Image Dynamic dealer, and they sent me a pair of the mini horns. I don't know if you've ever seen those before. So they had the big horns that had the tweeters that mounted on the bottom, and then they had the mini horns where the tweeters just kind of like tucked into the side, and they were a little bit shorter. So they sent me a pair of those, and a 6.5 and a 12-inch woofer. And I bought 2 Alpine Expert 505 amplifiers. They were 2-channel, like 75 by 2 or whatever. I don't know, it's like a 500-watt monoblock. I actually still have those, but I don't have any of the Image Dynamic stuff. I had a Ram at the time, and we made this, we put them in there because we were a new dealer, and they're like, oh, you got to do these horns. You got to do these horns. These things are great. These things are great. And I put them in, and I was like, okay, drinking the Kool-Aid. Oh, this is so good. and we built this thing, and my buddy that was working with me at the time is a like master fabricator guy that right now he builds Star Wars armor. He builds Boba Fett helmets and all this other stuff. He's okay. What he does, did you ever see Suicide Squad?
Yep.
You know the pink car that's in that the Joker drives?
Yeah.
It's called the Vader or some stupid name like that. He worked with that guy to build parts for that car.
Whoa.
So like
we got some mic issue going on over there. I don't know what happened.
I might have gotten too far away. Is that
no?
better?
I think you're good now. Yeah, you're good now.
I probably kept rolling back. It's on wheels. But anyways, he built the interior of that car as well as like the lights and all that other stuff. So he does all kinds of weird stuff like that. Anyway, so we put those in my car or the truck, and we listened to them. And in like the first 2 minutes, I was like, these suck.
Yeah.
It's like,
and you had them under the dash. Like,
yeah. And they had to be. You have to have them perfectly level.
Yeah.
They have to be on the same plane. There can't be any twist. It was a nightmare to get them in there. And he came up with this real ingenious C channel that we made that just like put them right in there. It was really cool. But I absolutely hated them. I was like, but they gave them to me, so I had to leave them in there because they were like, how do you like them? I was like, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
and it doesn't even have, I'm not a big fan of pointing the tweeter at your face anyways. Yeah. But if you do have to do it, I strongly recommend having a gain control on those tweeters.
Yeah.
So that you can like dial them down. But that's not the objective. So we know that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, before we get to the next one, let me hit up the people that hit us in Super Chat.
Do it.
All right, Ron, JL White, appreciate it, my dude. William Berg, if I missed you, let me know because this thing wants to jump all around here. Then, what's going on, man? Appreciate it. El Fuego again says, the difference between me and you is I run CCA and Dean runs OFC. Oh, man, I'm never going to live this down. I should have never.
You owned it though, and that's what I respect about that because you were like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm doing this. And to me,
I'm doing it for science. I'm doing it for science.
Exactly. And
if it goes bad, I will pull it all out.
Do you still have that car?
Yeah, that's my wife's car.
Oh, okay. Well,
so if she catches on fire, we've got a pretty nice insurance premium on her side.
Oh God, that's funny.
So I did have another one, and this is kind of related to the horn tweeters. So have you ever got a bass demo where, I mean, it's a full bass head rig and you're doing 160, whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just blasting it, and then they cut the bass off and just the mids and highs are going, and it melts your face off and makes it feel like your ears are gonna pop?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's another annoying trend.
So fortunately, we don't have to deal with that often. Most of the time, honestly, most of the time when we're tuning a car, the subwoofer is down so low because it's almost kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So the subwoofer is usually the last thing we bring into the equation. But a car that's that loud with, if somebody does that to me, it's just kind of like, why did you do that?
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
bro.
Thanks, bro. So we have a lot of like install things like that are kind of silly. One of the things that I love is I've done the install. All you have to do is run the wires.
Oh no.
So they basically what that equates to is they've mounted the amp to the box or to the back seat, and that it's like 5 minutes. We just have to dump some wires in the car, and you're like,
yep.
It's just not how it works. Or the one I love the best is, can you tune my system? And you're like, what do you have? An amp and a radio. And you're like, well, what am I going to tune? Oh, my amp.
You to do the three, the bass and the treble and the mid.
Or they just want you to set the gain. It's like, oh, dude, I'm surprised you didn't say gain. Gain is the best one if you think about it. Like gain.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Dude, how many times have you heard this? Man, did you hear that? Isn't that loud? Bro, and I only got my gain up like halfway.
Yeah. Yes.
And you're like,
I totally forgot that one, but that is 100% true, man.
Yeah. And then the best answer to that is, you do realize a gain is not a volume knob.
Yeah.
And they're like,
nah, bro, because when I turn that up, it gets louder.
If it's a Brazilian amp, yes, it is a volume knob, but not on that one. Oh, speaking of Brazilian amps, I played with some amps today that you might get a kick out of. Soundstream is coming out with Brazilian amplifier ripoffs.
Oh yeah. Oh, Derek shared that with me yesterday, and they look kind of expensive for Brazilian amps, are they not?
They are dirt freaking cheap.
Really?
Like, yeah, so they brought us the 1200 and a 4-channel.
Yeah.
So they brought us a 4-channel and a 1200. Needless to say, we used a handheld dyno like you have, a big power supply. They just wanted to get an idea of what kind of power they were doing. And when we hit them with lightning, we got about 50% power.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, they're rated like 12,000 watts for an amplifier that's like this big, and you're like,
Derek's gonna he's gonna bring out a Dick Riculus on them.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is they were happy about it. Like, they were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And the reason why is because they are so reasonably priced. Was what I like to call cheap. They're super, super reasonably priced, and because obviously we have a lot to do with Sound Digital. So, I had the prototype 3001 sitting there, which is like a competitor for that, and they were about. Our power supply doesn't get up that high. Plus, we were doing them at like 2 ohm instead of 1 ohm because I didn't have I had a 2 ohm 1,000-watt strip instead of a 1 ohm 1,000-watt strip.
Yeah,
because I was like, I kind of cooked the 2 ohm version. Okay, let's Mm-hmm.
They get hot.
Oh, they get hot really quick. We forgot we had one. We forgot we had one hooked up one time, and it burned it burned our tool bench.
Yeah, I've burned a board. I've got a little bank here of 100-watt resistors, and they're all burnt in, which is fine now. Now they're good to go.
They've melted in place.
Man.
So it's like this big. It's a 1,000-watt 2 ohm.
Yeah, that's what I use underneath my bench.
Yeah. I was like, what's that smell?
Yeah.
It smells like wood burning.
Yeah.
And then we look over and we're like, oh crap,
Oh man. Jessica, thank you for the funds there, and Alan Boggs, thank you. You're awesome as well. I got another one for you. Let's
Yes.
see.
Shoot.
Okay, this is in the SQ realm.
Ooh.
Getting a sound quality demo at maybe 85 dB. Maybe. Has that happened to you? It's like, dude, what? Like my factory radio.
All right, so I'm gonna leave the names out to protect the innocent because I don't want this getting out to these people. But so we're at an event, and we'll just leave it at that. And we're listening to a car, and this was a car. This was an impressive, like, my turn. Like
Yeah.
Fernando and I were waiting. We waited like 15 minutes to hear this car because this was the car to hear. And we got in the car. And we're sitting there. I got in, and I always let Fernando go first because if anything, I want him to get the experience. I've been doing this long enough, so it's like it's just another car. But for him, you know, he's been doing it a third of the time I have, so it's like you go first. I always let him go first because I want, you know, if we run out of time, I want to make sure at least he got to experience it because I've already done it. It's not the end of the world for me. So Fernando goes in and he gets out and he gives me this look because we, you know, obviously we have looks that we give one another.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I get in and I'm like, impress me. And we're playing it. And I'm like, yeah, you know, staging is perfect. The voice is doing exactly what it does. The instrument that, you know, from the SQ side of things, it's priceless. Like you're just sitting there and you're blown away. They were playing one of the female people that I hate that everyone loves, the fat chick that got skinny.
Is it Adele?
Yeah, thank you.
I thought you were gonna say Spanish Harlem. It's always Spanish Harlem.
No, you can't play Spanish Harlem and you can't play Hotel California. I will get out of your car and dump on your hood. You're like,
yep. It's the two. It's the tracks, man.
I hate them. I hate them. There's so much other stuff. Play anything but those. Come on. So anyways, I'm sitting in the car and I'm like, you got anything that's got some hit? You know, like some bump to it? And he goes, you know I do. Hold on, man. This car will, this thing gets down and boogie. People say that there's no impact in this. I beg to differ. And he starts playing some Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
First off, wrong song. And he's like, feel that? No. And he's like, and I'm like, yeah. He goes, see, this car gets down. And the funny thing was, he had plenty of power and he had a monster subwoofer in there, but it's just doing nothing. And I'm like, and I get out and I looked at Fernando and we just kind of walked away and we're like, I go, what do you think? He goes, it was the most incredible thing I've ever heard. It just had no bass.
Yeah.
And I was like, right?
Yeah.
You know, at least like some of the other cars we go in when they go to events like that aren't show events, they turn the bass up so that, you know, because that's what we want to hear. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone that's in car audio wants to hear bass, whether they are bass heads or not. We all started doing this with the thought that we're going to add a subwoofer. Yeah. And whether you're an SQ guy or an SPL guy or somewhere in between, which I think most people are somewhere in between, you appreciate impact to the music.
Yep.
And yeah, it's
literally your first upgrade. Subwoofer. If you can only upgrade one thing, most people will upgrade.
Yeah, which is funny because it's usually and it's funny because now that's what like the kicker key. If you can upgrade anything, put a key in your car.
Yeah.
I don't care. Keep your factory speakers. I don't care. You know, if you got a base model deck, put a kicker key in.
I second that because I got a video coming out Monday all about the kicker key, which was inspired by your F-150 build. I was like, if Dean's that impressed with this amp, like Kip, yeah, man, I need a kicker key.
Haley has that in her car. She has the key 180.4 and then the 501. And then we have a 200.4 and a new set of KS to go in there to replace the older set of KS. We just got to get around to it. And then I'm going to do something with it. I don't want to give it away. But the one thing we found out with the kicker key is when you have an all-pass filter in there.
Yeah.
An all-pass filter is a phase inverter at a specific frequency to simulate center channel effect for both passenger and driver. It's what they call a two-person car. Usually it sucks, but Toyota puts it in everything. Nissan's starting to do it. The problem you run into with the kicker key is that it doesn't correct for that. The key lock does, but the kicker key doesn't. So when we were doing it, we were like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? This works every time. It's not working. And we called Kicker. I called my buddy, the engineer there. And I said, why isn't this working? He goes, oh, it's got an all pass filter. I said, yeah, I know that. He goes, well, test for it. And I go, so I pull out all our tools and I test for an all pass filter, which you can do if you have an RTA with 2 channels. Because when you sum the 2 channels together, you see a dip in the signal. So it's like everything is nice and flat on left, everything nice and flat on right. And then when you sum them together, you see a huge dip in the middle, and you're like, son of a
yeah. I know
so he's like, I've been thinking about this and I have an idea. What happened? Try putting the microphone in the middle of the car and then running the test again. And we're like, okay. So yeah, why not? We grabbed some blue tape and we put blue tape all around the headrests. And we taped it right in the middle of the car. And we ran the test again. And left the time alignment off, you know, and oh my gosh, it worked like a champ. I was like, ah, all right, write your white paper up on that one so that everyone knows. He's like, you know, and it's like talking to a doctor when the doctor tells you, I'm just totally surprised that worked. And you're like, what? You're an engineer.
No kidding. You didn't plan for this?
Yeah. So the guy that designed the kicker key is this guy named Fernando. Go figure, right? And he's been on the show before. We had when we were out at Kicker, we interviewed with him, and he's into working out and buff, and he's like he's into the whole made, you know, like he taught himself. He's a self-taught engineer.
Yeah.
So he didn't go to college. He didn't do anything. He taught himself. He paid tutors, and he learned. His grandfather was the same way. His grandfather was an engineer and built buildings in Brazil, I think. It's one of those, and so he never went to school, and he's building high rises, and so he carried on in that tradition. So when I was at Stillwater, we got done doing the live show, and he goes, "Hey man, you want to go running tomorrow morning?" I go, "Yeah, sure, yeah, let's go running." All right, I'll meet you. We met out front at Kicker, you know, because they have a track that goes around that lake. And they also have a restroom right there too, and that's why we met there, because I was about 1.5 miles from that, and at about 1.5 miles when I run, I gotta take a crap. So I know at Stillwater, it's like I run to the thing, and then I can go as far as I want after that. But something about running 1.5 miles knocks the spiders out, and so we get going, and I don't know, it's like 2 miles around the lake or some silly stuff like that. And he's a buff guy, you know, he's like, you know, and so we're jogging, and I'm thinking he's trying to like speed up on me. So I you know, so we end up doing this the whole way. And I just thought, you know, we're talking, or I'm talking, and he's kind of, huh? And we get done, and he's like, I'm like, what's wrong? He goes, man, dude, you're fast. I go, what are you talking about? I thought you were fast. He goes, no, man, you kept speeding up. And I go, I thought you were speeding up. I thought you were like, you know, let's go, bro. And he goes, no, not at all. You just kept going faster. And then you were talking. How the hell do you talk when you run?
Oh, like, man.
And I'm laughing because I was actually going slow, you know? And I was like, yeah. So that's
I wouldn't even have made it from the building to the lake running.
Oh man, it's a beautiful run, man. Oh my god, it's so nice run, because it's like, you know, where we live here is just different, and then when you're running there, it's like, I don't know. I get a kick out of running in places that I've never been. Just because it's neat to see and feel the air and all that, but that's not car audio related. So let's get back to the.
Well, I do have a little tangent with the kicker.
Yes.
I didn't say this in my video, but I done the key, put it in, everything's cool, playing the music. I hear all the speakers, they sound fine, and I get the sad music. Okay, what's going on? Maybe I didn't have the volume high enough. I turned it up a little more. Do it again. Get the happy music. Get in. Only the right side of the speakers are playing. Like, this is interesting. So I'm messing with the fade on the stock deck, and I fade to the left, and I can, at high volumes, I can hear the left just a little bit.
Ooh.
So I'm doing everything, dude. I'm checking everything. And finally, I just had to give up. I was frustrated. The next day, I tear out everything, the whole dash out.
Oh my gosh.
And it's in a 2013 Sonata, so it's not a huge.
Yeah, it's still pain now. Yeah.
But I take it out. You know, I check all the soldered wires. I'm checking all the connections. I got my wife with the meter in the back, and I got a 9-volt battery. Am I getting signal? I come across one that when I put the wires back in, it looped. One of the wires was a little long. It looped it back and it pinched it.
Oh, yeah.
On the left. I was like, no. So I resoldered that and checked everything else. And yeah, second go, it was perfect.
So years ago, one of the guys that worked for me, were with me. He had a friend that came in that used to work with him, and he moved on to do something else. And he goes, "Do you ever tell the story how we met?" And I go, "No." He goes, he was crimping 2 wires together, and you know, when you put your wire into the crimp, there's always that one wire that wants to fall out of the crimp and do this out the back side. Well, he had done that, and of course that sparked into something else and caused a short. And I was like, really? And ever since that day, him telling that story, anytime like I'm doing speaker wires onto something, or anytime there's anything that's crimped, I always roll the thing around to make sure that one long nose hair isn't sticking out of the crimp. Cause it's like, and you know, it's like, you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, that's not, no, just pull it off, do it again, put it back on, you know, cause it's like that one time, it's just like, and especially you know, with what we do, we can't afford to have that one time, you know, because it's always the wrong one time.
Yep. And then it's an hour or 2 of your time at minimum going back and getting it in there. And yeah.
Dude, we'll do something we think is like the easiest install ever. We're like, this is a cakewalk. And it just spirals out of control into like the dumbest, stupidest crap ever. It's like, you know, you'll get all the speakers in. I mean, you'll literally like, this is like nothing. There's no DSP. There's like, man, this is straight old school crap. And you'll get in there and like 3 of the speakers will be backwards. And you'll be like, I'll just be looking at friend like, how the hell did that happen? What went wrong, bro?
What'd you do?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
If I'm working with somebody, I'm like, hey, what'd you do, man? I know everything I done is right.
Oh yeah.
So obviously it's something you done.
Oh, you know, it's just funny. You know, and then, you know, it's like you're always rebuilding the system through your head and just going through every failure point, and then you're trying to think it through, and you're like, where could that possibly be? You know. And then you're like, okay, so if like a speaker's out of polarity, all right, well, you really need to find out where it's out of polarity, because if you just flip it, well, then your crossover, it might be before the crossover, not after the crossover. So you really need to get it correct, because you know you don't want to have it all wrong through the crossover or wrong through. That's why active is so easy. You just go. Yeah. Oh, it's wrong. Click. Okay, it's right now.
180. Boom. Done.
Yeah. It's like, hold on, let me just flip it, see which sounds better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
true, man.
You know, it's funny too, because like even though you're doing a 24 dB crossover network, that technically is going to bring everything back into polarity from the 12 dB shift. You'll sometimes sit there and go, man, I'm not feeling this. And you'll flip them and you'll be like, oh, there we go. You know, and it's just because by the time they get to your head, they've actually flipped again. And you're like, son of a...
so many people do that, like low-level amateur people have their speakers out of polarity, and they're just like, you know, they can't get that sound they want. It's like, man, this is the easiest thing to check, but it's the thing that doesn't get checked.
Ow! I mean, when you're watching the subs do this,
yeah,
you're like, oh my God. I was doing something the other day. We were working on probably an F-150. I don't know what it was. And, you know, I hate the square round wire. You know, like we have just switched to wire. So like we have a red wire, we have a black wire. There's no square, there's no round. It's just red wire, black wire. And it's just, it's so much easier, because it's like, this is ground and this is not. But on the square round, you know, you're like, if you're not focused on that, then you know, you still put, you know, we put heat shrink over it just to make it look pretty and all this other crap. And we'll be talking or doing something. Well, we got done with the car, and you know, like I said, the subwoofers always last. So, you know, you get everything tuned up front, and then you bring the subwoofer in. And I had brought it in a couple times, and it was fine. It was adequate. And I'm like, and then I was doing the final, and I'm like, this sucks. What the hell's going on here? And it's like, man, is the sub backwards? It's backwards. And so I flip up the seat, and I'm looking at it, and I unplug one, and I'm like, oh, holy crap. And I'm looking at it, because I'm like, in Fernando's, you know, we're looking at it, and I go, look at that one. I bet you that one's backwards. I know it's got to be backwards. And sure enough, I'm looking at the black heat streak over the square and the red sheet. I was like, son of a.
Yep.
God, I hate this.
I like the square round when they're different colors.
Yeah,
if they're different colors, I could deal, but like a lot of times they're just like both blue or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like, a lot of the stuff you'll see us do, we just run primary wire. It's like, well, you know, it's like, we'll do, so a lot of the times what we'll do is we'll do like, you know, you have gray, white, green, purple, and then you'll change the color of the negative. So you'll do like black for like the mid bass, and you'll do like yellow for the tweeter and blue for the mid range. So we have a color pattern there. And then if it's a factory system and we don't have a plug for it, we'll try to match whatever silly colors scheme they have coming from the factory, so that we can easily look at the plug, a reference point, and then see what it looks like in the back.
And you can make the primary wire look nice just by twisting it up.
So years ago, I was watching an episode of Monster Garage. Do you remember Monster Garage?
Yeah, I used to love that show.
The guy I was talking about earlier, that he was on that. He did the Coco the Talking Gorilla. He built that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he built that. So there was a show where they were doing like some kind of trike bike, and this guy's sitting there like doing this wire thing, and Jesse walks up to him and goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm weaving the wire together." And he grabs the wire out of his hand, screws it into the drill, and goes, and the guy's just like, huh? I'm like,
yeah, that's the
rookie move, bro.
My wife, she doesn't get that concept either.
Oh, spinning the wire?
Yeah, because she's so awesome. Like, she'll be out there helping me with projects, and yeah, sometimes we get into something like that. It ends up in a ordeal.
The fact that you could even get in the car and work with your wife is props to you, because like, we can't even talk about car stereo, like, or anything like that. No, it's gonna end in bad, because you know, I mean, boss, not boss. Do what boss says, make boss happy, and
too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes I just look at Fernando and I go, "Man, you're a saint." You know, and he goes, "No, I wait for payday."
I did love on the Instagram live stream where she was watching the hockey game.
Oh yeah,
check that, bitches.
Oh my god. Oh no. So
I was dying, man.
She's the opposite of me when it comes to sports. I have no care whatsoever. I'm a car stereo guy. I don't give a crap about sports, and other than running. And her and Haley are just like, you know, and they're, you know, they'll be like, happy night is when they go, "Hey, we're gonna go watch the hockey." You know, in a previous lifetime, they'll be, "Hey, do you want to go to the hockey game tonight?" And I'll be like, "What's tonight?" And they're like, "Wednesday." And I'll be like, "No, I'm gonna edit." Okay, and then so they'll go to the hockey game. So that means I get to come home to crickets.
Yeah.
So I can sit there and I can put my headphones on and I'll be like, I'll just get to work and no one to bother me. I don't have to be editing like this. So how was your day?
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I know the feeling.
Great. You know, so
that's why I no longer edit in the living room.
Because I have to edit in the living room.
That's an invitation. I try to tell them, like, hey, when I'm doing this is like work. This is work. I'm doing my overtime job here. I can't go 5 seconds, and you know, you need to really listen to the audio when you're editing.
Oh yeah,
that's literally like one of the most important things. And I got my headphones in, and I hear like, "Oh, so did you go by the store?" And so now I just come in here. I come in this room and I set my iPad up and I do all the editing here.
Oh no, they make me edit out there, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
It's all here. I like this one. Someone said wires that don't stay twisted together. It's usually because it has like it's either crappy copper,
Yeah.
or the shielding is really crappy. But oh yeah, that sucks. It's like you get it all twisted up. I mean, I always over twist it, and then I'll sit there and I'll hold it and I'll let it just kind of unravel a little bit, and so it's like perfect. And then when I put them all together, they all just kind of like twist into one another, and it's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks cool.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm sure you've talked about it on the show before, and I haven't caught it. But what got you into car audio?
Actually, it was my stepbrother's brother. I actually was into car audio before just hearing it, but I never wanted to get a system. They had a place in Bakersfield. I don't know if it's still around, called Translex. They had a Bakersfield, California, and they had a big VW with 218s in it. And I heard that. I was like, oh man, I got to check this out. There's a bug. And my brother-in-law's brother, he bought him a system, and that's what got me into the car audio scene. Like working with him before I was 14, 15, messing around with car stereos, and it just went from there.
You're like, I could be a car stereo god. The women will come to me when they hear my subs pound.
Yeah.
Oh, who's making that bass?
I always wonder whose dream that was, because I was never under that illusion that any girl besides what's it called? We Like the Cars That Go Boom. Those were only two girls I ever heard.
They came to my high school and performed.
They did?
Yeah, Tigra and Bunny.
Tigra and Bunny. That's
Bunny, and we like the boom. Ooh,
Yeah.
we like the car. So at our school we had like 5 or 6 guys that were into SPL and sound and just making, and then everyone else was like REM. And like that whole group of emo people, pre-emo people, I should say, that all just kind of walked around wearing that type of clothes that were like, oh, I'm so cool. So cool, bro. We walk in, hit hard, hit harder.
Yeah.
We're like, what's up, bro? What?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. What? Speak up. Just getting louder, and then you're just like, deuces.
Yeah. Well, once I seen Tigra and Bunny, I was like, you know what? I like bass.
Yes.
They like bass. I like bass. Oh man.
Or Uzi.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
It's just,
That's right. I left the P off.
Every man does something not to impress other men, but to impress women.
I mean, that's
then once you're married. Then once you're married, you try to impress other men with your tools. And
the one I can never figure out is the loud exhaust. Like, hey baby, do you like my loud exhaust? Yeah. No, I don't. No,
have you seen the South Park episode about the bikers?
Oh God, no! It's probably hilarious.
They're inside of a food court going, bum, 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 just with their mouth. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah. Well, and that's why Sound Digital makes 1200 watt by 4 amplifiers. Mm-hmm. So that are this big and powerful as hell, and you just look at it and go, really?
Yeah, that's a big amp.
Yeah.
It's going on a stunt wall, I'm sure.
Or in Fernando's car, whichever one works first.
Thanks, Brian Miles. Do you know this guy? This is another one of those annoyances. This guy, everything I run is awesome. Everything else is trash.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much. So to back that up, there's 2 things that I if I was to get a tattoo, which I never would, but if I would probably be something I would consider. The first one is, if you're not on my team, you suck.
Yeah.
Okay. So that should just be a t-shirt. If you're not on my team, you suck, because it matters in everything. It started, when I started, like I was Team Orion, down the street was Team Rockford. And then you had the guys over there that were like PPI and, and JL and Boston Acoustic. It was like, but the 2 big brands were Orion and Rockford, where we lived. And it was like, you picked your team. Yep. It was like, oh, Rockford Fosgate. And you're like, you suck, dude. You have a punch 45. Well, you only have a 222. It's the same damn amp, dude. Both 45 watts. No, yours is only 44. Oh, for the love of God. I got a 2150. Bite me.
I was that guy. I was that guy in the beginning. So that's how I know how that guy thinks too.
Yeah. And then the second one, which is more kind of like annoying, is good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm opposed to all of it. Like I don't go for if you're not on my team, you suck, because I want to be on everyone's team. Because I feel like everybody contributes to this, and good enough is never good enough. I want the best that you could possibly give me, and if you can't give me your best, then I'm going to move on to the next guy that can give me his best, because I've been doing this long enough to where give me your best or don't bother.
Yeah. Or I don't want anything from you.
Yeah, what's the point? I mean, if you want to live in mediocrity, go for it. It's cool. But back to the original thing, yeah, the other thing too that kind of falls in that same one is like when people are like, "Oh, my OCD won't let me have different brands."
Oh yeah.
And you're like, okay, so like, don't get me wrong. Every Japanese brand out there makes from soup to nuts. So I mean, you can build a full Alpine, Kenwood, Pioneer system, but why?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't even care. I'll run a different sub amp and a different mid-range amp.
I won't do that. No, I can't do that. Slow down.
I can do that.
I'm not saying I'm perfect. Come on now. No. Back that up. No, they got to be the same size and everything. But I'm just saying, it's like you've automatically narrowed yourself out of some really cool equipment. It's like, okay, so you're willing to have everything match, and there again, you're just going to settle for mediocrity because these guys don't make everything great. They try really hard, but some better than others. But it's like, okay, so you just kicked out Kicker, Rockford, and JL, the three most popular brands on the face of the earth. You don't want anything to do with them because they don't make a radio.
Yeah.
Okay,
although Rockford did make some radios.
Delphi made those radios. At that point you say, you know what you should do? You should sell your car, buy a Razor, and then we'll be back in business, because both Rockford, Alpine, and JL make radios for those.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because they do a better job making radios for those than the radio manufacturers do making radios for cars half the time. So it's just like,
y'all forgot about OEMs.
Oh, what?
Yeah, OEMs. They make stuff for everything.
Oh, well.
This guy might be related to the Everything is Trash guy, but the guy that drives through neighborhoods at 10 o'clock at night with a system full blast could possibly be the same guy.
I love that guy. You want to know why I love that guy?
Why?
I'm not telling anyone to do it by my house because it's annoying, but I do love that guy, and I will tolerate him because every time he drives by, I hear money falling to the ground. I hear money. And everything I own is paid for by car audio.
Yeah.
So if this goofball wants to drive by playing his stereo at 3 o'clock in the morning, hey man, check's cashed. I'm cool.
Hey, I'll tell you why I'm against this guy.
Okay.
Because when people at work, I don't tell anybody that I have a YouTube channel. But when people at work find out I have a YouTube channel, guess who they see in their mind? Especially when they find out it's about car audio.
Oh my God.
They think I'm a vape bro with 10 12s in the back in their neighborhood bumping at 10. Oh yeah, you do that. Yeah, the loud bass. Like, no, not really, man. I just like stereos.
I like music.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard of it before. Yeah. Some of you, it's constantly playing in your head and you don't even have headphones on. Just saying, song of the day. What's one's playing in your skull?
Yeah, bone induction, man.
Dude, I have those. I love them.
I've had some too before.
I have Aftershocks.
I can't remember what brand it was I had.
They obviously they're waterproof and all that. They're for running. So I've dude, I have a problem, man. If you make one pair, I'll try them and they're like, oh, these are good. Oh, you make another pair? All right, those are good. Those are better. They got to be better. I'll buy those. And it's like, oh, you came out with another pair. Oh, these are even better. So it's like I own every pair. I give them away when I'm done with them. It's like when the new one comes out, I'm like, I will never use these again. So like I have friends that run or are thinking about running. I'll be like, hey, man, you need these. These will keep you from getting hit by a car because you have earbuds in. So I'll pass them along and they'll be, oh, these are cool. Like, yeah. And then they'll break them and I'll be like, how do you break them? Like, what are you doing? Like I've fallen and couldn't get up and never broke them. I mean, what the hell? It's crazy.
Oh man.
Well,
F80s Nice to catch you live. Thanks, man. All right, go ahead, Dean.
I was gonna say that takes us to almost an hour, man.
Yeah,
what
man.
Do you do it? What do you do at the end of your show?
We can do it. I don't know. This is our show.
Oh yeah, this is our show. So if you guys, I'm gonna say if you guys like this show, make sure you let us know in the comments after the fact, because we want to do this as a regular thing. Obviously, we'll get more deeper into car audio and stuff like that as the show evolves and moves on, and we become more comfortable with one another.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus,
the camera talk, man. When we get into camera talk.
Oh, by the way, I was going to tell you, I got those microphones you guys were talking about, the dual microphones,
the B4s.
Yeah, the ones that have the mic on one side, mic on the other side. I bought those.
You did? Did you pre-order them? I canceled my pre-order because it said it was going to be 6 weeks. Like,
no, I don't know. I had them in my shop. I had them in my shopping cart at Adorama. Yeah. And I kept looking, and one day they said they were available, and I bought 2.
Oh, so have you got them yet?
Oh hell yeah, we've been using them we used them all last week, and they're awesome.
I got to get some. I ordered a Sigma 30 1.4 lens.
Oh, for the one you have now?
Yeah.
That's gonna look sick.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We'll see.
Dude, that's gonna look sick. You're gonna look smoking. Like that's the whole wall behind you is gonna be blurry and all that crap. Yeah,
we're at 3.5 now, so.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
Yeah,
I'm probably at 8. People go, what the hell are they talking about? Yeah. Anyways, let us know if you guys like this, if you like the format. Obviously it'll get different. I'm saying we should reach out to you guys and let us know what kind of topics you'd like to see professional versus amateur hobbyist, whatever it is, talk about. I think one of the allures of the show is going to be the perspective, as I was saying, your perspective versus my perspective, because there's a lot of things you see one way and I don't. And I'm really excited about that. This is a show I've personally wanted to do for a really long time. So thank you for letting me be part of your channel, for one. Because
oh yeah, man. Thanks for coming to the channel. I'm just a little guy down here. I'm a better Robin than a Batman most of the time. But I can play Batman on YouTube.
I'm just a dude. People go, dude, just take it down one. Take it down one. It's like, and it's funny too, because like I don't, as most people know, it's like I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do caffeine. It's like I drink water. I'm just wound all the time. It's pretty funny. But I will say, when we have to do trainings in the morning, like when we go do Knowledge Fest and we have to do trainings, it's like I'll grab an iced tea, which is kind of like, if you saw Solo, when Woody Harrelson was like, we'll just dump some of the thing into and we'll shoot out of there. It's like, that's what happens when I drink iced tea in the morning. It's like,
dude, I want to see Caffeine Dean now. Oh, like on a Mountain Dew. Oh Lord, there he is. Okay. He popped up.
It's all right. It's frozen in one chunk. It's really funny because all right. One more story. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm doing our class. We have a class we call the Digital Business Card, and it's basically teaching dealers about YouTube and some of the videos they should be making, trying to get them to realize that they should be doing this, and how they should do it, some of the pitfalls and do's and don'ts, and things that we've learned over the last 8-9 years of doing this. Because believe it or not, like there's a lot of mistakes you can make and a lot of things to avoid. But Dean at 9 o'clock in the morning realizes that these people are, we don't go to bed till like 3-4 in the morning a lot of the times when we're out at these things. So it's like you're in bed at 3 or 4 in the morning, you're up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and if I'm going running, I'm up at like 5 in the morning. So there's like 2 hours of sleep. And I know everyone else is like that too, because it's like we're all a bunch of car audio guys that are getting together for this like 2 to 3 day period, and we haven't seen these guys for a year. So it's like, what happens at Knowledge Fest stays at Knowledge Fest. So I'm like, dude, I gotta be on, man. I gotta be like hitting these marks. I gotta be going. I gotta be juiced. I gotta be ready. And so there was me and this other guy named Randy Schwartz that was doing a DSP training at the same time. And I'm like, I gotta go against a DSP training? Like, are you kidding me? Because like, dude, those things are booked. Like, everybody wants to do DSP training. Who the hell wants to learn about making videos? Nobody. His class had 300 and some odd people. My class had 280 people. I was like, okay, we did okay. But the difference between the two is if you were walking down the hallway, you heard the people in my class laughing and having a good time and everyone was awake. And in his class, it was utter silence, just him talking. And I was like, no, I got to have people like, yeah, we got to be jazzed. This has to be fun. And I got done with the class, and people are like, dude, that was awesome. And they're like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm like, this is the first time I've ever done this. I was like nervous and kind of, and it was just one of those weird moments where like, oh, it paid off. Okay, cool. Yeah. And they're like, wow, they're just coming out like patting you on the back and shit. Like, oh, that was so cool. And you're like, I don't even know what I said for the last hour. It's just a freaking blur. I mean, we had a PowerPoint, we had all that stuff to kind of like rein, the cats in and keep them going in the right direction. But yeah, it was crazy. All right. So last story of the night. What do you say at the end of your show? Where do you want people to go?
Yeah, just if you have topic ideas, send them to me, highfiveg@gmail.com. I'll take care of them. As you know, Dean has enough stuff on his plate. I'll kick the ones that I like over to him.
Oh, yeah.
Let him say, yeah, that sounds cool, or maybe this other thing sounds cool. So we'll do that. And hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be on this channel for a little bit. And
we'll be doing this again next week at the same time.
Same time.
Couple of things I want to throw out there. Obviously, Dina Fernando's Car Stereo Clips tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock is the news show. So if you guys are up and you want to catch it live, it's still sponsored by Ground Zero. So we'll be giving away the Ground Zero mug in the morning. So if not, catch it on the repeat. It's a half-hour show, and all we do is talk about news from our perspective, which usually means that it's not the perspective they're going to want. But hey, oh well. And of course, you can find us at 5 Star on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and Clean Wire Club on Facebook. If you're not a member, make sure you become a member of the Clean Wire Club. You get to see all kinds of clean wiring and stuff like that.
And that page has grown.
Dude, there's like 8,000 people on that page. It's awesome. Insane. Fernando's like, I think we need a moderator. We need another. Well, we have one moderator, this guy named Clint out of Australia, and of course Fernando. But I think he's like, I think we're gonna need another moderator. So the next show,
some pretty dope stuff going off.
Yeah. So the next show will be next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Yeah. That's at hi-fi-vega, youtube.com. I am the co-host, Dean from 5 Star, the star of the show. This guy right here, Mr. Hi-Fi Vega.
Not the star, more like a
dude, you're the star.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm your Batman, Mr. Robin.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. I'm just here to talk,
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't want to keep you guys, I have a tendency to go long, but I know we're in and out in an hour, so everyone's happy. Yeah. Until next week or tomorrow or whenever we go again. Thank you for having me on your show, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you.